So you've decided it's time to sell your house, but how do you know how much your house is worth? That's what we're going to talk about today on our Tips for Sellers series, so stay tuned. Hi everyone, I'm Courtney Chankis with Charles Ruttenberg Realty here in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. Thanks for tuning in to our channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can check in every week and get notified of our new videos. Hopefully you find them very helpful. Today in particular, we're going to talk about some tips for selling your house. Last week we talked about ways to get it ready to sell that won't break the bank, and today we're going to talk about how you figure out what your home might be worth. Obviously, every seller's goal is to sell their house quickly and at a great price, but how do you determine that value? As the owner, obviously, you think your home is worth a lot. It's hard to kind of step back from that and have an unbiased approach to the whole process. So today we're going to share some tips coming from a realtor as to how you would determine the value of your home and how we determine the value of the homes when we take listings. So how do you know what someone is willing to pay for your home? The first thing you can do is have an understanding of what's going on in your neighborhood. Take a look at your neighbor's house that just sold and find out how much they sold it for. If it's very similar to yours, you can probably assume that your house will sell for a similar price. For example, let's say you have a 3-bedroom ranch on a street where all of the houses were built around the same time, and your neighbor Joe across the street just sold his 3-bedroom ranch for $350,000. You can assume that yours will probably sell around the same price, depending on different upgrades and features and maybe additional things that you have or don't have compared to Joe. The hardest thing to do as a seller is to get in the mindset of the buyer. You have to take yourself out of the equation and look at the house as if it's not yours and you're a buyer, determining what you want to purchase in the neighborhood. So would you buy your house, and how much would you be willing to pay for it? The next thing you should do is talk to a realtor. The first thing an agent will do is recommend running a CMA, or a comparable market analysis, for you. And this is not an exact science, but it's a really good way to determine what the market is telling you your house is worth. Basically, I need to see what other houses sold near your house and how much they sold for. And my goal is to find houses that are about as similar to yours as possible. So we try to look for houses that have sold as recently as possible, so we tend to not go further back than 6 months unless we absolutely have to. In an area like Lakewood Ranch, there are a ton of sales, a lot of new construction sales. So that kind of throws a different wrench in the plan. If you are an owner who has a house that was built 20 years ago, your main competition is the new construction house down the street. So there's a lot of factors that can come into it, and that's why a good agent will help you and kind of walk through that process with you, use the market value of current homes that are selling, and tell you what your home might be worth. As we always say, first impressions are everything. So the second your home hits the market, you want to entice those buyers to come look at it, which means your price tag needs to also be enticing. The worst thing you can do is price it too high just to see what happens. I hear that a lot. And as much as that theory sounds great, it puts you in a bad position as the seller, because those buyers are going to flip right past your house and keep looking for something that's a little more in their price range or a little more fairly priced based on what they've seen. So if you are the highest priced house in that area, chances are they're not going to come looking at yours, they're going to go look at the other ones. So you want to position yourself appropriately so that you're competitive and that you have a good price that buyers are willing to pay, so that you get multiple offers and hopefully sell your house very quickly. Another factor that will determine the ultimate price of your house is the appraisal that's ordered, assuming your buyers have to get a mortgage. When your realtor does a CMA, they're basically doing a very similar process as to what an appraiser is going to do when they come look at your house. So they look at the market value, what the market trends are telling them, what other houses are selling for in the area, and they determine if the price that your buyer has agreed to pay is what your home is actually worth. So again, you don't want to overprice your home, because then an appraiser is going to come in and say, nope, it's not worth that much, sorry, and then you're back to square one. If you're not sure what other homes in your area are selling for, I would recommend that you drive around on a Sunday afternoon, look for some open house signs, check in and see what the realtors say about other homes that they're trying to sell, the pricing of them. If it has a lot of activity, that'll give you a good gauge of what's going on. If you're online and you happen to be looking at our Sold by Chankis website and blog, there is a new home search tool on there. So you could put in the statistics of your home, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, the amount of square footage, and it'll show you new construction homes that are comparable to yours. So at least you'd have an idea of what those prices would be in the area and how that factors into what you might want to sell your home as. And there's other ways to look at home prices as well. You can use Realtor.com, websites online, just to get an idea of what's happening nearby. So once you determine a price, you want to guarantee that your home is presented to match the price that you're asking for it. As buyers come looking, they're going to want to see your home bright and sparkly clean, as clutter-free as possible. If you want to check out our other video on ways to make sure your house is ready to sell, that has some great tips in it for getting the house show ready, as we like to call it. But that is an important step to making sure that when buyers show up at the door, they see the value that you're asking and they're willing to write up an offer at that price. In all seriousness, you do have a short window of opportunity to attract buyers when you go to sell your home. If you overprice it, they're not going to look at it. So pricing it correctly means your house is guaranteed to sell quickly. Overpricing it also means that it might just sit there for a long time, adding up the cost that you have to pay to maintain it, to keep it, and the time that you're stuck there and can't move to your new home. You can avoid the mistake of overpricing by hiring a professional realtor, like myself, to give you advice and help guide you in the whole process. I hope you found those tips for sellers helpful as you consider listing your home. Again, if you're in the Lakewood Ranch area and you need a listing agent, we'd be happy to help you. Please give us a call, send us an email, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And again, I'm Courtney Chankis with Charles Rutenberg Realty here in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. Thanks for watching.